Good, glorious day to you. I'd invite you to read 1 Corinthians chapter 8 with me. This is the King James Version. Now, as touching things offered unto idols, we know that we all have knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth. It brings you up. And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. But if any man love God, the same is known of him. As conquering, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that the idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other God but one. And so verse 5 says, For though there be that are called gods, where in heaven and or on earth, as there be many gods, or lords many, but to us there is one God, the Father, of whom all things, and we in him, and one Lord Jesus, by whom all things, and we by him. Verse 7, Howbeit there is not in every man that knowledge, for some with conscience of the idol unto this hour eat it as a thing offered unto the idol, but their conscience being weak is defiled. But meat condemneth us not to God, for neither if we eat are we better, or neither if we eat not are we worse. It doesn't matter what you eat. It really doesn't matter. What he's saying is the direction and purpose and interest that goes to God, and it's where your position is before the Lord. So verse 9, But take heed lest by any means this liberty of yours becomes a stumbling block to them that are weak. So it's like, don't trip people up. If you can drink alcohol, great, drink alcohol. If you can eat food offered up to idols, eat the food. It doesn't matter. But if you're doing it and it's causing a difficulty for somebody else, then don't do it. And here's why. Verse 11, And though thy knowledge shall be weak, brother, perish, for who Christ died. It's saying, just because you have the freedom, you don't have to do it because the weaker person doesn't know any better. You're causing them a difficulty. So let's just go back up to verse 10. For if any man see thee, which hath knowledge, sit at the meat with the idol's temple, shall not be the conscience of him which is the weak be emboldened to eat those things which are offered to idols. It's really a difficult read, but what it's saying simply is that if you know you have freedom to do something and you do it, that's great. However, if you know you have a person with you who's going to struggle. So I'll give you a perfect example. A long time ago, my former wife and I went to a dinner date, and we were able to sit and have a meal together. Now, I didn't have a gluten or any kind of intolerances that I know of at the time. And my beautiful wife did. And so the challenge that came in was she would see me eat some food that she couldn't have, and it became a sadness for her. And so out of love and respect, I was like, I will never eat this around you again. In fact, whenever I was around her, I became the same in likeness of whatever situation she could or couldn't have at that time, because I loved her and I didn't want to cause her a stumbling position. And so it's literally because of this being applied in my life that changed her opinion and outlook on date night. Like, it was freedom then instead of being a burden or a sadness, because I was just doing what was easy for her. And so verse 12 says, But when you sin so against the brethren and wound their weak conscience, yet you sin against Christ. So if you make them stumble, it's a problem for the Lord. Whereas if meat make my brother to offend, I will eat no flesh while the world standeth, lest I make my brother offended. So he's just like Paul's saying, I don't want to offend anybody. And that is a very kind way to look at it. I am purposed not to be offensive. Now, sometimes we have to make choices, and there has to be a decision that's got to be made. there's a righteousness in that. But purposely doing something because it causes somebody to stumble, that is not right. Like a perfect example would be if someone has said, hey, I can't drink coffee for a season, and then someone else it comes in and touts and boasts and carries on about how wonderful this coffee is. It's too bad you can't try it. Well, this is literally a stand against the Lord, because the wound in their weak conscience is a problem. And this means that it's a sin against Christ. So do with that what you may. Hey, God bless you. I hope you have a wonderful day in the Lord.